Well, it's a Monday and it's afternoon here in Accra, Ghana. I'm glad to welcome you to another edition of AFCON Today here on the Joy Prime channel, on the Joy News channel, and also on Joy 99.7 FM. Thanks to all who are joining us via our various platforms from around the world. And today is Destiny Monday because we are looking forward to seeing what will happen in the eventual scheme of things. What am I referring to? Is that big game that all of us are looking forward to between the Black Stars of Ghana and their Mozambican counterparts. How would all of it end? Well, there's a lot of talk ahead of this game. There are loads and loads of calculations, loads of arguments and conversations in different quarters, but it will boil down to the game eventually. What we will do here is to help all of us understand the dynamics, especially on the technical end of things, as we look ahead to the game. Also, this weekend gave us a mixed chain of results. We'll be discussing all of them, including that one that happened to the most rated side, or the highest rated side, which is Morocco, whom we're expecting to just be recording 3 points as they went along. Well, that wasn't the case, and that has also changed the narrative about how we should project who will win this tournament. All of these and more are here on AFCON Today. It's your number one when it comes to reviewing, previewing, and all the expert analysis. My guests are here in the studio. They join me very, very shortly for the conversations, but thank you for joining us. You're live here on Joy News, on Joy Prime, and Joy 99.7 FM. We'll get down to the business in a little bit. Welcome to the show. Well, just in case you want to know what we're discussing off air, we're discussing issues of legacy and what kind of legacy these Nations Cup tournaments are able to leave for the host nations. Well, we have our issues to deal with from 2008. CoteD'voire would have their issues to deal with. But of course, that's not the focus for this afternoon. It's for another day. And we'd want to throw the focus on the games that were played at the weekend. Which of them is your pick and what is the reason? Well, let's begin with, the gentleman here in the studio. Today is White Sneakers Day, obviously because we believe in the color white and what victory can bring Ghana. Sicho, good to have you. Achu, good to have you. Yeah, we should get Sicho. Yeah. Sicho has taken my name to some witch doctors, I'm sure. So Achu and Fentuo will be here as usual to bring us, the philosophical man is ready to also bring us some facts and figures as well. But gentlemen, this weekend was interesting in terms of the topsy-turvy nature of the results it gave us. I'm very much, amazed by what I saw of Morocco, in that game. Yeah. So there we go. Let's begin with Algeria versus Burkina Faso. That draw, expected?
Not necessarily, but I think that performance, their opening game, have taught us a few lessons that there's a team that is still living on its great players of yesteryears who may not be operating at the same level. So if you look at the contributions that Adam Onas, he created, I think, about 4 chances. It will be the same theme running through the 4-5 previous games that they played. If you look at the performance of Baghdad Boneja, he scored 3 goals. And to put matters into context, there's in the history of Algeria, there's only been one occasion that one player has scored more than 3 goals in one AFCON competition. But the team is dependent on these 2 guys to get the results for them. Unfortunately, the players who won them the AFCON have, much like it happened to Inter Milan when they won the Champions League, and Moratti decided that even for the guys who were almost 90 years old, very old guys, they gave them long-term contracts. Winning the AFCON in 2019 has become an encumbrance in the sense that the manager has failed to move the team on from old legs like Riyad Mahrez, Sofiane Feghouli, and the others who may not be as influential as they used to be in the past.
Well, so there it is. Algeria still hanging in the balance there. Now we talk about Mauritania versus Angola. Fentuo, this game was full of explosive moments.
Game of the tournament so far. And not just necessarily because there were some 5 cracking goals scored in there. It was the level of competition. It was the pace at which the game was played, the intensity at which this game was played. It was absolutely ridiculous. And they traded the goals. And for any neutral watching that, this is one of those matches where even as a fan of that particular team, you would be very much happy even if your team lost the match, because there was not a single moment in this match where you would say, either team didn't fight for the result. And for me, I thought even the quality of goals that were scored, for me, absolutely brilliant. It was non-stop, energetic, back-to-back attacking movements. And this was probably like the worst goal among all the goals. Like after this goal, the rest of the goals were absolute blockbusters. And we say it all the time, that AFCON is not just about the fact that you've reached a World Cup semi-final. Look at that. And Bono, this guy who scored this goal, played for FC Nouadhibou, who are...
Nouadhibou.
Yes, exactly, who are a football club in Mauritania. But look at the quality he's brought into this particular competition. So AFCON is not about, I've reached World Cup semi-final or I have reached World Cup quarter-final, I've beaten Portugal. No, none of that matters. What really matters, and look at that for a miss. What really matters is, can you do it at the Africa Cup of Nations? And for me, Mauritania have shown that they have the ability. Gelson Daka, this guy, Dala, he plays for Sporting Lisbon. Wonderful finish to put them 2-1 ahead. And then they went 3-1 up, and you thought, okay, this game is over because there's no way Mauritania are getting back into this particular match. What another finish. This one in particular, fabulous, no stopping that. And at this point, we all thought, you know what, I think Angola have it home and dry. Then this happens. My word.
This reminds me of one of Michael Essien's belters for Chelsea.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they almost got the equalizer to make it 3-3, but in the end, Angola held on for all 3 points. It was a hard-fought victory for them, but in the end, they deserved it.
So this is just a very simple message as well, and a lesson to be learned by every defensive setup at this tournament, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. And one thing that has been the recurring theme all through the tournament, and we've discussed that here, every point you get, you will have to earn it. If you go to sleep for 5 minutes, you get punished. It happened to the Black Stars on 2 occasions. Algeria happened to them. Morocco will come to them a bit later on. In this game, Angola, and they weren't bad. They didn't particularly switch off. It was just a game that was too open, and that was where they failed to take control of the game, and they were nearly punished.
So this is the game, of the weekend for me. It produced only 2 goals, but nobody in any way expected. And we did the analysis here ahead of the weekend. Yeah. Because the DR Congo, we knew that had a strong league and could produce some very good players who could play, the kind of football we're looking forward to. Did not. But hey, what happened? We saw them come in, and they played a good game, especially in the first half. They had good possession. They created some pretty decent moves and all of that.
Yes, they did. And as we said last week, they've played some more structured football than a lot of us will give them credit for. And the level of cohesiveness that we've come to see of them in this tournament is admirable. The only thing missing is Cedric Bakambu and his inability to put away chances. But for that, I thought they could have actually won this game. The issue with Morocco is what we discussed earlier. The conflict of whether they continue with what served them so well at the World Cup, or now they deviate from type and try to be a bit more expansive. And I think in this game, that was a problem for them.
And this penalty miss as well. I mean,
Cedric
Bakambu. That's what he was talking about.
Yeah,
he's missing open goals now, and he's missing penalties. It's unbelievable.
He could have been on 3 goals by now. He missed 2 sitters in the opening game against Zambia, and then the penalty.
Well, so that's it for Morocco. Morocco, highest rated team.
After the game, what happened?
The bust up. So the scene that was created by the two players. I'm trying to figure out what exactly the trigger was.
I think it was just tensions boiling over into the dressing room. Chancellor Mbemba, the captain. I mean, throughout. And the thing is, there's a very interesting history between Congo and DR Congo and Morocco. They face each other way too many times. And the rivalry also extends even to club football with TP Mazembe and a lot of Moroccan football clubs. So they've known each other for a long time. So, and it was very ugly scenes. But yet again, it's that kind of entitlement mentality of Morocco, thinking that, we're World Cup semi-finalists, we should be winning or we should be beating you. No, you don't deserve it.
Yeah, and according to you, the script definitely has changed.
Yes.
And this is the evidence.
It's
isn't
the
it?
AFCON. You have to deserve it.
Well, let's get down to South Africa, the Bafana Bafana, the giants of 1996 and 1998, who are now waking up after that result that they recorded against Namibia. Well, Percy Tau, he missed a penalty the first time. This time, he buried it well. But question is, the opposition. Others will also say, listen, the opposition doesn't matter. What is important is that the good football was played, the goals were scored, and a certain level of points have been secured.
Well, I think I would give them more credits for this because for anyone who watched South Africa throughout the qualifiers, their top scorer in the qualifiers didn't turn up at the AFCON because he told the coach he had mental health issues that he needed to sort out. Now, in the press conference before the tournament started, Hugo Broos said that he needed to tweak his tactics that he had used for the past 24 months because his team was now a bit more reliant on wing play and the players who occupy wide positions. He needs centre forwards who the ball can bounce off, draw teammates into play, and then give them an element of variety to their attack. First game, things didn't go well particularly. In that second game, they answered all of the critics, and I think that they were full value for the money.
South Africa, with this performance, definitely have to, give a good account of themselves as we go along. Because
3 points now for them. Their last group game, I think a draw would be enough for them. The question is whether or not they can actually get a draw
Against Tunisia.
Against Tunisia, who themselves are struggling in this competition. You're not going to believe this, that after 2 match days, Algeria have no win.
Yeah.
Tunisia
have no win.
Have no win. Egypt have no win. Ghana has no win. Cameroon has no win. So that is the AFCON we are dealing with.
That message from Samuel Eto'o.
Yeah.
That tough message from Samuel Eto'o to the years of
which we are now being told that it was fake. It was a fake coach.
I was about to ask that question.
It sounded
very much like
something like Eto'o.
Exactly, because he's done it before, right? Yeah. There's a video of him at the World Cup talking to the players in that exact same tone about, the patriotism, and you have to put everything you've done at your club as, somebody just sat down and cried.
Yeah, but because the reference to them being born outside of Cameroon, I thought was so low.
No, but that was what gave it away, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But the reality is that this is the truth of Cameroon.
It is.
They have, in the past, been in situations where Samuel Eto'o himself has had to call out the commitment, the application of some of these players, who he says that because they have not been forged or they have not forged the national team character, they do not understand the ethos of the team. It is difficult for them to push themselves to go the extra mile. When we say these things in Ghana, people think that we're throwing nonsense about. But the reality is that national teams require more than just the natural talent to play.
Absolutely.
You need to understand the ethos of the team. You need to reflect the aspirations of the people and the values with which the national team is run with. Otherwise, you can't produce what you don't have.
So long and short is that this indomitable Lions team we've seen better. We sure have seen better.
Yeah, of course.
Guys, let's look at the situation with Mo Salah, Liverpool, and Egypt. Mo Salah sent a very big message to all of his fellow teammates who are playing in big leagues, including the English Premier League. And we used him as an example to criticize other players and all of that. Now it's looking,
He's not a very popular man in Egypt right now. Obviously, already there were lots of doubts hanging over him. But even more importantly, his legacy in Egypt was always a big matter of discussion on the Egyptian media, among the Egyptian fans. Where is the legend? Look, one thing is clear. Mohamed Salah is Egypt's biggest footballer by a mile. And I'm talking global recognition, I'm talking global appeal, global fame. Salah is literally nothing Egypt have ever produced before in the history of all Egyptian football. And I don't even think that is debatable. Okay. However, in Egypt, your legacy is not determined by how popular you are,
around
how
the world.
well you've done at Liverpool.
You have to have bathed yourself
There
in
you
the
go.
waters.
And so in Egypt, it's always fighting for that recognition. His legacy is not cemented if he doesn't win the AFCON, especially in Egypt and to a certain extent, even on the African continent. Because there are Egyptian players who have won 4 AFCON titles, like Ahmed Hassan, okay? There are Egyptian players who have won 3 AFCON titles, 2 AFCON titles. He's been to 2 AFCON finals. He's lost both of them. And until he actually wins the AFCON, there will always be that big question mark regarding his legacy, especially when it comes to Egyptian football. This year should have been, could have been that year for him. Unfortunately, after what happened in the game against Ghana where he pulled out injured, it's now looking very unlikely that Egypt will win the AFCON title. Now, to make matters worse, he's decided that Egyptian authorities or doctors or medical staff are not in a position where they can take adequate care of him. So Liverpool and Egypt have decided he can go back to England. Okay? Maybe that is best for the player, but in the eyes of the general public, in the eyes of the Egyptian people, abandoning the national team at this critical moment and going away to Liverpool and now saying that if the team reaches the semi-finals, he would come back to play, looks like it is a very, very difficult, complicated situation. How about you fly Liverpool doctors down here to take care of him while he's with the team and providing them motivation? Because he's decided to stay, even though he can't play tonight's game, he has decided to stay back for tonight's game so he can motivate the players in coach.
Well, a very, very tough set of circumstances.
It's a very tricky situation.
Very, very tricky. And I know that, I mean, we've lived in moments here in Ghana, for instance, where when you didn't have an Abedi Pele in the camp, it took something away. No matter how much talk he does. Once he is not physically in the camp or physically on the pitch, it takes something away from the black side. We used to see that a lot. So there it is. Unfortunate. He's still young. He's still got time.
The biggest player at the AFCON.
He's still got time, but the longer this drags, the more
difficult it becomes.
The more finals Salah plays without winning. It may get to a point where winning the AFCON may not even put him in the conversation because Abu Trika has 100% record. 4 AFCON appearances, 4 AFCON titles. Osama Hassan the same. Ahmed Hassan. Those are legacies that you won't touch with 1 AFCON title. Certainly not with these circumstances. Because at the end of the day, Salah's decision in this ought to have reflected a certain appreciation of the delicate relationship he had with the Egyptian press, the Maghreb Arabian world, and an attempt to fix that, right? And so if Mohamed Salah had told Liverpool that, you know what, fly the team doctor to Ivory Coast. And as far as I'm concerned, unless, of course, there is a surgery or some peculiar treatment that the facilities in the Ivory Coast may not have, what really is the import of asking Salah to go when you could send a doctor?
So we don't have the benefit of that now. So, well, we'll leave it at that because, you know...
maybe some rehab equipment
probably,
that they don't have.
So we'll leave it...
and put his legs inside.
We'll leave it here. When you get down to the bottom of it, we'll bring this subject back. Gentlemen, Guinea found themselves performing well, doing what was most important, and then their fans.
Sad story. I think that this was a situation where they had exceeded expectations. And it is crazy to even suggest that because they are doing well recently. They made it out of the group in 2015, 2019, and 2021. So getting 4 points out of possible 6 in the first 2 games should not be something that will push them into delirium. But according to the police reports, there were a number of road accidents involving cars, and all of these were in areas where the fans were celebrating. And so
I wanted you to give the context, which we don't have. 4 Guinean fans.
No, 6 of them have died.
6 Guinean fans have died celebrating Guinea's win against Zambia.
Exactly.
This is the story you're discussing.
This is a story. And according to the police reports, there were a number of road accidents. Each of them had overzealous fans or overly excited fans literally standing on cars, some of them on the bonnets of cars and all of that. And when the cars collided, unfortunately, in one instance, 4 of them died on the spot. And this was the situation. And it's crazy because they've been doing well, like I've said. And the expectation was that tomorrow against Senegal, they might get something that would push them to the next round of the competition. Even if they lose that game with 4 points, I think they can still qualify. But it's a sad story. Hopefully, the team is able to get the results that will give them some excitement again, because they sent about 1,000 spectators to Cote d'Ivoire for this one. And it looks like if they make it to the next round, we might be seeing even more fans, because Guinea to Ivory Coast is not too much of a distance for them to make.
This is things we used to see with CoteD'voire and Haas, wasn't it?
You know,
Back in the day.
and it was happening, a big deal. It was a great deal.
Yeah.
I remember a story of, former IBF, former WBA welterweight champion Ike Bazooka Quarte, who used to tell me stories about following Accra Hartsville, traveling beyond the Togo border when they had Hartsville had to play in the CAF Champions League against the Togolese side, some of the experiences and all of that. And these things maybe need to be brought back. But, it's all within context. But while we pray for the repose of the souls...
We'll celebrate. People
Fentuo has always wanted to do a road trip, so he has an excuse now. He would have an excuse.
We want to do Choloku. Do you understand? I've never kissed Choloku since.
You know what? We have to.
I want to kiss Choloku.
At this point, we have to issue a disclaimer on the statement.
My wife and I have had a conversation
about.
She said, if we win the AFCON, on that one occasion, you have to
allow you
to go and treat Soloku. And he said, if you go there, you can treat Manes, the Soloku. Okay. You are free to do it.
I know many people will ask for a repeat of this show because of this. And we're on 3 big platforms. Joy FM, Joy News, and Joy Prime, according to Fentuo, Fentuo. Anyway, Charlie, are you still on this matter?
Wait,
anyway.
I don't know what it's like. Nat, were you there in 1982?
Well, we'll discuss that later. I think Achu was doing his national service in Nigeria. All right, guys, talk about that. We're zooming in on the Africa Cup of Nations experience for the Black Stars. It's a crucial day. It's a Destiny Monday, as I've decided to describe it, for various reasons. The fact that calculations have to go right from a Ghanaian context so that the Black Stars can see their way through the group stage. Now, Fentuo will be taking us through a few calculations, something you've all been looking forward to. I mean, I've had loads and loads of people approach me from when I did drop-off this morning of my kids in school, and I've had meetings earlier today. Everybody's just asking, so are they going to go through? What will be the conditions? We're going to bring them to you here on AFCON Today, and Fentuo is going to take care of that. We'll look at the various, scenarios that could play out later this evening. And do remember, these games will also be played simultaneously. Yeah. This was instituted some years ago so that there is no form of, spiking up or any form of conspiracy to turn around the rules of fair play in the game of football. Okay, so, gentlemen, Ghana versus Mozambique. Now, their head coach has been speaking, and he's a legend of Mozambique. Now, you look at the recent era, and this is one player who's played, a successful striker who's played in 3 AFCONs. He's played for the national team. He's played very good, successful club football in some of the big clubs in Portugal. And aside the name Eusebio, his name is very much revered, and he has this very big task. Now, he's been showing respect, and he's also been telling us that they're going to come as tough customers.
Yeah. And he would have inspiration from Comoros, wouldn't he? Yeah, from 2021 AFCON, where Ghana, déjà vu moment really, where Ghana needed to win that last group game against a supposed Minos. And then we went in there and then we lost the game. Andrea, you got red carded in the first half and things just fell apart. So I think, and that's the nature of football. Like, it's very unpredictable and things can change and the momentum can swing by one singular moment, So hopefully we can avoid that. I think, I was one of those people that said we said on one other podcast platform, we're previewing the game, and I said I thought that the Mozambicans had done too much in the draw against Egypt that I thought they were not going to do well against Cape Verde. And I was spot on. They went and they lost miserably to Cape Verde and that tends to happen with inexperienced teams where they exert too much into a certain game and then they get the result, and it's hard for them to keep that up and do it again in the next game. So I think that against Ghana, they might be recovering from that crestfallen defeat against Cape Verde. And so it's going to be a very tricky, very difficult game for sure. And I hope that the Black Stars would go there and show the same momentum and the same character and hunger they showed against Egypt. I absolutely believe, Nat, that if we play at the same level that we played against Egypt, we would beat them. The question is, will we be at that level?
Well, that's the very big question we'd all want to answer. Unfortunately, that answer lies beyond 8 p.m. tonight. And so our tournament correspondent as well has been doing a bit of nosing around, moving around, getting into the camp and all of that, and has put together a report for this particular game. While we go along as well, we're just going to chip in on the Daniel Amate situation that we heard about. You did hear about, him deleting a post of him on national team duty from his Instagram account. Some were also rumoring that, he was not too happy. We're going to take all of that from here, bring you the authentic news from here. So that's the reason why you have to stay with us. And once again, greetings to all of our friends who are joining us via our stream on YouTube from all over the world. Thank you so much for making us your number one when it comes to the reviews, the previews, and the solid analysis on the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations. Now, we'll take you to our man, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi, who's been on the ground and has put together the following report ahead of the game.
Welcome to the stadium, or they call it the Olympic Stadium in Ebimpe. People say it is a calm before the storm. But even before the storm, Ivorians are getting ready for their contest, their final group game in this competition against Equatorial Guinea. They had a perfect start as host nations, but unfortunately, their second game against Nigeria ended in defeat. So, they are also reeling from exiting this competition. So what it means is that they must pick maximum points in their game against Equatorial Guinea, a side that held Nigeria in their opening game and also won their second group game. So at this point, well, it is a facility that will be shared by both teams. So if CoteD'Ivoire should win, many people actually believe that there will be massive atmosphere behind the Black Stars against Mozambique later tonight. And it is a game that will define the future of Ghana in this year's African Cup of Nations and in this very facility. Many people have actually said that Ghana does not have the good luck of traveling out of its usual venues, but others too would disagree. You can go back to the 2010 World Cup when Ghana traveled out of its venue to the soccer city. They lost against Germany. When they went again to the soccer city for the quarterfinal against Uruguay, the team lost once again. But people actually believe that if the Stade de Felix was a facility that did not give Ghana the best of luck in this tournament, probably Ebimpe would be the ground where Ghana will be picking its first points in this year's African Cup of Nations. Like I said, it is a calm before the storm. Muftau Nabila Abdullahi for Joy Sports.
All right, my left. All right, discussing a few extracurricular activities, Fentuo has already given himself away with that one. I'm not going to refer to it. You didn't hear it from me. You heard it from him. But, we're just talking about, fan experiences at our respective stadia and what we should learn from the advanced, markets when it comes to football. Well, that's also another very big discussion for another day. But Muftau Nabila Abdullahi has just given us a full feel of what's happening on the ground right now. The fans going ahead of time, because obviously they're very anxious. They're looking forward to seeing their respective teams deliver. And, I mean, in the host nation, definitely the home fans are really praying that it goes well because Nigeria wanted to, poke their balloon. Well, let's get down to the business, the calculation business now. Guys, I want you to tell me, what is it? Now we win by 2 goals, 3 goals. We pray that, I want you guys to let me into it. Yeah. I mean, many people are also asking. So take it over, guys.
So this is it, actually. So listen, I wasn't even going to do this, but like you said, the sheer number of requests, and just before we came on air, I got a phone call from my very good friend, teacher, senior, and boss, Dr. Sheikh Mustafa Hamid.
Great.
His question was, my brother, what is the permutation? Are we qualifying?
Charlie.
I said, well, you know what? Then it's important to do this. So, big
Ghanaians
shout
are
to
worried.
Sheikh Mustafa Hamid. Calm down, all right? So, listen, before we go on, you need to understand that at this AFCON, there are 6 groups. Let's get to the basics.
Yeah.
The next stage of the competition will have 16 teams. Now, the 6 groups have 4 teams each. In order to get the 16 teams, CAF says each group, the top 2 will automatically qualify. So 2 times 6 will give us 12.
Yeah.
Now, we need 4 more teams to make it 16. Those 4 teams will be the 3rd place teams from 4 of the groups. And to select that, they will look at points. Then they will look at goal difference.
Yeah.
Then they will look at goals scored. Then they will rank all the 3rd place teams in the groups, and then they'll take the top 4. So in other words, only 2 groups where the 3rd place teams won't qualify to the next stage. As things stand right now, we will show you the ranking of the top the
3rd place teams.
top 3rd place teams, okay? And we'll take you to each group and then tell
we're beginning
you
with
how
Group
it
A.
could potentially...
Yeah.
Yes. So in Group A, for example, Equatorial Guinea, 4 points. Nigeria have 4 points. Now, when they play their third matches, CoteD'Ivoire will play Equatorial Guinea. Okay. I think CoteD'Ivoire will win. If CoteD'Ivoire win, they will get 6 points. Nigeria will play Guinea-Bissau, the whipping boys of the group. I think Nigeria will win. If that happens, Nigeria will top the group with 7 points. CoteD'Ivoire will finish in 2nd place with 6 points. And I think Equatorial Guinea already with 4 points, I think they will qualify. They will finish 3rd, obviously, with 4 points. Guaranteed, even if they lose to CoteD'Ivoire. Okay. Now,
There is also another scenario where
yes.
Equatorial Guinea match up to their AFCON record of qualifying out of every single group stage automatically and by beating Ivory Coast.
Yes.
In that scenario,
Or even a draw.
yes, if they get a win against Ivory Coast, it means automatically Ivory Coast will be waiting for after the calculations.
Calculations.
So it means that
join-
CoteD'Ivoire will finish with 3 points.
with 3 points.
And that makes the
But a
aspiration
draw-
more precarious.
A draw would mean that Equatorial Guinea, Nigeria qualify automatically. Cote d'Ivoire now have to play the waiting game as one of the best 3rd place teams
With 4 points.
with 4 points.
That is key. With 4 points. It means that, so what it means is that in either scenario, the 3rd place team here could have 4 points. All right?
Yeah.
Now, if you move it on to Group B, let's see Group B as well and see how
The
many...
group.
Group B has Cape Verde.
Yes. And we'll see where the potential 4th place team or the 3rd place team will finish. Because the key here is how many points does the 3rd place team get?
Yes.
That is the key. All right. So in this group, now the scenario everybody is suspecting is that Egypt will beat Cape Verde. That would take Egypt to 5 points. Cape Verde have topped the group automatically. Nobody can catch them. They have 6 points. If Egypt beat them, Egypt will get up to 5 points, which means that Egypt will finish 2nd. Ghana plays Mozambique. If Ghana wins, Ghana will get up to 4 points. So already, we have a situation where in Group A, a team will finish with 4 points. Let's say Equatorial Guinea, all things being equal. In Group B, Ghana could finish with 4 points. If, for example, all things play out the way we expected. Now remember that if Egypt failed to beat Cape Verde and Ghana win against Mozambique, Ghana would actually finish in 2nd place.
With 4 points.
With 4 points. And there will be no need to do any kinds of calculation.
Yeah.
So the assumption is that Egypt will beat Cape Verde. But people have to remember there could be a scenario where Egypt don't beat Cape Verde. And in that scenario, a win for the Blaster would actually take them 2nd. And they wouldn't need the 3rd place.
And that will calm the storm. Because
Exactly.
And
it's
more to the
tough
point,
at this time.
in the history of the AFCON, ever since we started the 2nd or the North deck of the best 3rd place teams qualifying, no team has failed to qualify with 4 points.
Exactly.
In fact, if you drop the bar lower, 5 teams have qualified with 3 points.
Exactly. And in the last AFCON, Ghana could have qualified with 2 points. And we didn't. So
Against Comoros.
now this is Group C,
The defending champions.
the defending champions.
They are
so
through.
in Group C,
Yeah.
Senegal are already through with their 6 points. their next game is against Guinea, who have 4 points. If Senegal wins, which is expected, then Senegal will go to maximum 9 points. Guinea will remain on 4 points. Cameroon are expected to beat Gambia. So if they win, they will get 4 points as well. So it means that in Group C, you also have a third-place team potentially finishing with
4 points.
4 points. So now in Group A, there is that potential of a team finishing in third with 4. In Group B, Ghana potentially could finish with 4. In Group C, Ghana potentially could finish with 4. So already, what it means is that is 3 places
Already taken.
already taken. That is with Ghana included. Yeah. That is with Ghana included.
Yeah.
And Group D is where we are now.
Yeah.
Group D has Angola, who have 4 points. Burkina Faso have 4 points as well. Algeria have 2, and Tanzania have 0. Now, Algeria's next game is against, in fact, Algeria
will play
are playing against Mauritania, not Tanzania, Mauritania.
Yeah.
The expectation is that Algeria will beat Mauritania, which means that Algeria will go up to 5 points. Now, Angola will clash against Burkina Faso. The expectation, even if the two of them draw, both will be on 5 points. Algeria win 5 points, which means that in this group, all 3 teams could finish with 5 points. Which means that a team from this group would definitely qualify.
And that also then will give a disadvantage to all the third-place teams who have finished with 4 points.
Exactly.
Yes. Very well.
Which means that in Group D, it's much more straightforward for most of the teams here, unless, of course, one of these teams win. If Burkina Faso were to beat Angola, they would go up to 7 points. Angola will remain on 4. Algeria's victory will take them to 5. So Angola will finish third with 4 points. So let's even say that is the scenario. Then that is another third-place team with 4 points. So that is 4 groups with third-place teams with 4 points.
And possibly with a superior goal difference to Ghana.
Yes. Now, Group E, for example, is where it gets tricky. And that's where I think it is actually very straightforward, because I don't think any team here would actually finish 4th with 4 points. Okay. Mali, their next game is against Namibia. Okay, and South Africa play Tunisia. My expectation is that Tunisia would actually beat South Africa, okay, which would take Tunisia to 4 points and they would qualify. And Mali would automatically beat Namibia in this case, and that would take Mali to 7 points. South Africa will finish third with 3 points, and I don't think that they will make it to the next round.
But there is also a scenario where Namibia get the better of Mali and go to 6 points.
Okay.
Tunisia beats South Africa. That means you've got Tunisia on 4 points, Mali on 4 points, sharing second and third places. But on top of that group will be Namibia with 6 points.
There is that. That is the unlikely scenario.
That would mean, but after what Namibia showed against Tunisia, you really can't discount them against Mali.
There is that.
Very well.
Yeah.
And then the final group, Group F, it's where Morocco are. Morocco are currently top with 4 points. DR Congo have 2. Zambia have 2, and Tanzania have 1. Morocco's last game is against Zambia.
Yeah.
Okay, Morocco will beat Zambia. All right. DR Congo's last games against Tanzania, DR Congo will win. So in this group, I actually don't think there is a team here that will finish with 4 points in third place, or even with 3 points.
Yeah.
Because I think this is probably the more straightforward group.
Yeah.
Because Morocco will account for Zambia, DR Congo will account for Tanzania. That would mean Morocco finishes 7 points. Now this, after 2 matches, this is the ranking of the third place teams. And Ghana is currently ranked outside the top 4. So if the group stages were only 2 matches and they were taking third place teams, Ghana would not qualify.
Ah.
Wow. The top 4 third place teams at the moment, after 2 match days, are CoteD'Ivoire, Namibia, Algeria, and Zambia.
But what's also important is that we try to clear this goal deficit here.
We have a goal difference of -1.
-1. And that's something we need to try to clear.
And yeah, so today I was actually talking about, where we're going to draw. And I'm going to ask you those questions after Karim comes in, because we need to get the goals. There's no doubt about that. I mean, whatever be the case, we need a win plus goals. And that's what makes our case more complicated.
Let me just make this simple for you. From our analysis, it tells us that in 5 of the 6 groups, there will be third place teams finishing with 4 points.
Yeah.
Is that not it?
Yeah.
In fact, with
In
one of
four
the groups,
one of the 5 groups.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. In 5 out of 6 groups, there will be teams finishing in third place with 4 points. In fact, with one of the groups, we see a team finishing potentially with 5 points.
In third place.
In third place. If they go through, that means there will be 4 teams in third place on 4 points chasing for 3 slots. And in that case, it will come down to goal difference. And that is where our choose point is critical.
And
that just
this
winning,
is where I'll borrow an adage from the professor of world sport, Azuma Zum Zum Nelson. Go into that ring with your own referee and your own judge, and that is your punch. Go into these games with your A game and your goals, and all of this won't be necessary. Well, Karim, come over. Karim, come over and join us.
best case scenario, in my opinion, would be for us to win and Kivette to prevent Egypt from winning. In that case, we are second.
Well, prayers up then. Prayers up. Karim, good to see you.
He's a malam. Ask me what he saw.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
All right, you take us through.
Nats, you were just discussing what happened in Guinea.
Yeah.
The fans dying.
Yeah.
They had made their low expectations, right?
Yeah.
And Ghanaians, we live and sleep the Black Stars. That is correct, eh?
Yeah, is it?
So there's the Spanish actor Antonio Banderas, he says that expectation is the mother of all frustrations.
Karim, what are you saying?
So if you are going into the...
Straight bullets to all Ghanaians.
I'm even shocked.
So if you are going into the game with so much expectations, it means that what is coming, if we don't meet those expectations, we could just, God forbid, be seeing scenes like what happened in Guinea. So we should lower, what I'm saying is that, I'm not saying you should give up on the Black Stars. Just lower your expectations and let them exceed them. So
just like Dennis Odoi told us.
Yes.
Yeah.
But your numbers tell us that we should have hope, no?
Now, the numbers tell you should have hope, but the
Reality.
the reality doesn't tell you so.
Go ahead with it.
Let's look at the head-to-head of the Black Stars and Mozambique, starting with the form of Mozambique. In their last 5 games they've played, they've conceded 5 goals and scored 8 goals. And the 2 of them were friendlies and 3 of them were competitive games. They've won just 1 of them. That is against Lesotho. That is against Lesotho in their second friendly before the AFCON. Before that, they lost to Algeria in the World Cup qualifiers and drew against Botswana, who were supposed to play in South Africa when they planned originally the camp there, but we didn't play. They drew 1-1. Then they drew 2-2 to Egypt, who we also drew 2-2 with. It means that maybe our strength is the same. Hopefully.
Karim, be careful. Be careful.
Then they lost 3-0 to Mozambique, who we also lost 2-1 to. So let's go.
You said they scored 8 and conceded 5. I think you meant the other way, the opposite. They conceded 8.
They conceded 8
and scored
5.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
You made it seem like they were too good.
Yeah. You know, if you are looking at their form, is this bad or good?
It's not great. Obviously, in this, they've only got one win in the last 5.
It's good for Ghana, but yours is not better.
Okay.
In our last 5 games also, we also played 4 competitive games. One of them, the friendly with Namibia before the AFCON. That is the first of them being the World Cup qualifier against Namibia, which we won 1-0. Then we lost to Comoros. Then after that, drawing with Namibia before the AFCON. In our first game, we drew we lost 2-1 to Cape Verde, and then drew 2-2 against Egypt. In our last 5 games, we've won just 1 of them. It is the same thing Mozambique has also done. We scored just 4 goals and conceded 5.
We scored 4 and conceded 5.
Conceded 5 in
they
our last 5.
conceded 8 and scored 5.
Yes. They are scoring more than us, it means. So now let's go to the head-to-head. In all, we've met Mozambique 6 times. In those 6 times, we've won 4 and drew 2 and didn't lose any. Then let's go to the last 5 meetings between Ghana and Namibia. Our first meeting was in 1996. That is at the AFCON. And then
in South Africa.
Yes. And these are the last 5 meetings between Ghana and Mozambique. In those 5 meetings, we scored 9 goals and conceded just 2, winning 4 of them, drawing 2 and not losing any. These 2 games were in some organized friendlies. All of them played at the Bavaria Sports Stadium. The first of them ending goalless. And then in the reverse fixture of those organized friendlies, we won 3-1. Then Sika Akuno scoring, Mohamed Gago, and then Emmanuel Osei-Kuffour scoring the 3rd. Then Tiku scoring the consolation for Mozambique. Then this one was in a 2000 AFCON qualifier, played at the Accra Sports Stadium, where Sika Akuno scored the winner. In this game, the current Mozambique coach, Chiquino Conde, he played in that game for Mozambique. And then these are qualifiers. The last 2 are qualifiers for the 2017 AFCON. The first leg was at the Accra Sports Stadium, where we won 3-1. Franka Champon, Jordan Ayew scored in this game. Hopefully today he finds his scoring boots. And then the reverse feature of the 2017 AFCON qualifiers, we drew goalless.
All right, so Antonio Banderas, I love his perfumes, and we're going to get one for Fentuo so that on Valentine's Day, his wife... You know, thank you so much. And, you know, at least it's looking good in terms of, you know, the one-on-one history of the head-to-head with Mozambique. Let's now take a look at a phenomenon that's been happening. You know, we saw Octopus Paul. Now we see the cat. The mystical cat. This cat, I really don't.
If you're mentioning cat and this man is here, be careful. What is this cat's name?
Well, no name. I mean, so there it is.
It has predicted that Ghana will win.
Ghana will win the game. Yeah, so,
but if Ghana doesn't win, this cat will turn into live soup.
You know, so this cat, but any other statement that will be made by Fentuo, I would invite wildlife. Hey, but guys, we have to be wrapping it up now. Look, what should we do tonight? Let me begin with you, Achu. What should the Black Stars do tonight?
I think we have to take the shackles off. It's the needs of this game are completely different from the opening 2 games that we played. Yes, we needed to win against Egypt, but this we must win if we want to stay in the competition. My only fear, however, is that this team does not look like it has been trained to sustain attacks. It has not been, they do not play as though they have a semblance of cohesiveness, or you don't see any choreographed attacking patterns or any repeated patterns of even how they want to play. But all of that doesn't matter now. This is the situation. The coaching team has to find a way of getting this team to play on the front foot. I, for one, would not want to see the forwards who are failed in the opening 2 games in this match. I mean, it hasn't worked. Why would you want to repeat that? I would want to see Enes Nuyama, who's a bit more direct in this game. Joseph Paintel as well. I would want to see him start. Let's put out a team that suggests that we want to win this game. But even more importantly, go into this game with a plan, and the players, we beg them. We haven't won a game at the AFCON in 6 matches, in 5 years. If we can't beat Mozambique, then we might as well disband the Black Stars.
Well, strong note to end on. You agree?
Yeah, I agree. The last time we won a game at the AFCON, you have to go back to June 2019. Wow. And yet we've been going to the AFCON. So what it means now is that we have been playing qualifiers and going to the competition. You and I have been watching AFCON for the last 3 editions. We have not seen a victory. When was the last time you celebrated a Black Stars victory?
And in calculation-wise, this was what? 2024, and the last time was in 2019.
Yeah.
That means that Karim was 5 years younger.
Exactly.
Karim.
He was still a teenager.
Karim, let's go into what you would expect for this game. Quick one, Equatorial Guinea, CoteD'voire?
Draw.
Nigeria going up against Guinea-Bissau?
Nigeria win.
Okay. Ghana, Mozambique? Definitely Ghana.
1-0 Ghana.
I will answer that question for you. And then Cape Verde, Egypt?
Draw.
Draw. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's how we wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for following us. And thanks so much to Achu. Thanks so much to Fentuo and to Karim as well. Let's put the prayers up. Let's just pray that from a Ghanaian perspective it goes well. But we will be here to do all of the big analysis and let you look ahead of these games. Well,
Thank you.
Science, yeah.
Why are you laughing?
After the science, prayers also come in a compliment. You need to complement it with something else. Well, so thank you all for watching. We'll be back. You can follow the repeat of the show on our various handles and our social media platforms. Thank you. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport. time.